I really enjoyed making this scarab beetle because it's made using recycled materials and packaging. Before we design our own ancient Egyptian jewellery, I think it's important to study some examples. It's always useful to look really closely and spend some time doing this. In this design, I really like the triangles and stripes, and I think I'll use that in my own design, but I'll adapt it slightly. We will focus on a few things: symmetry, tessellation, pattern, texture, and being resourceful. Start by folding the paper in half. Draw half the beetle with the mirror line on the fold of the paper. It's useful to have a reference picture while you are drawing. A good tip is to fold your reference picture in half so you know exactly what you're drawing. You can turn the paper or the scissors, whatever works best for you, but just be really careful not to chop any of the legs off. Sometimes it's easier to just chop it out roughly and then cut away the details. And voila! Beetle. I would then decorate that with symmetrical pattern. That would be a bit more difficult to do because or maybe just unfold it and it be on both sides, unless of course I use something like paint. Okay, here's a different version that I've drawn out with wings unfolded. Fold that in half, cut this out. Okay, when folded in half, this is a lot easier to cut out than when it's open. Cutting from the fold definitely makes it easier. Only 4 of the legs are showing because 2 are hiding behind the wings, so 6 legs in total. Open it up, you should have something like this. Now I'm going to just cut the top section out. And I prefer, I think, this design, which I will now decorate and then make into a piece of jewellery or something like a pendant on a necklace. I used a card triangle as a template to get a neater tessellation, so I can get even shaped triangles all over. I've used a little paper triangle template to transfer the triangles there so they all tessellate, and I've drawn some lines. So from these 2 designs I'll probably develop this one further with some more intricate work on the body and legs, and then I would embellish those with some jewels, and I would look for some wrappers. Cut out the middle section of a chocolate coin wrapper or the foil. You could also use aluminium foil if you don't have that, or any other shiny sweet wrapper to embellish your design, and then put it on a chain or a piece of string to make it into an Egyptian pendant. You can use the back of a pen to smooth the embossing to make the foil nice and flat. Peel back the top layer of this piece of cardboard and try and emboss a texture onto the wing with the back of a pen, but I don't want to be too harsh, otherwise I'll just squash the cardboard. And very gently rub the texture onto this piece of foil. You may want to experiment quite a bit with the different textures before you find your favorite texture to use. The rear of this games console had some really nice ridges which gave a lovely texture. I used the nib of a pen to really bring out the texture. I used this ridged texture for the wings of the scarab beetle. About to throw away some rice packaging, and then I noticed it was a lovely metallic green colour with silver on the back. I folded the strip of rice packaging so that when I cut it I would get many triangles. I also made sure I trimmed off the folds on the edges so that all the triangles would be separate. One side of the triangle is metallic green and the reverse side is silver. So that was very useful because I was then able to alternate the tessellating triangles. It's sometimes easier to glue the foil onto the card and then cut round from the reverse side so you can get the exact shape. I'm using some solvent glue and it's leaking. It's fine to use PVA or stick glue such as Pritt Stick. Again, I use the same technique. Glue on the front, flip over, trim on the back. Nice and easy. Some more packaging. It's amazing what you can find if you look hard enough. Quality street wrappers are pretty good. Stick on the front, flip over and chop on the back. Making sure I get all the bits and it's nice and neat. It's always good to do a job properly or to the best of your ability. Here's some scrap card, blue on the front, black on the back. Now for the legs. So I draw around and then I will trim these out and stick them on. His legs look a bit clumsy and thick, so I'm going to trim those down. Well, just mark where these need to be cut and then I'll try them out. I'm really happy with how that's turned out. Now for the head. Let's use the reverse side of that rice packaging, draw around and cut that out. So to make the eyes, I'll use the rest of that red metallic paper. And first I drew some circles and cut them out. But it didn't look quite right. So I put them back together and I just chopped off a little sliver to make it into a D shape. And it looked a lot better. Sometimes it's best to use a bit of trial and error to see what looks right. I had so much fun making this, especially because it was made using recycled materials and things that are easily accessible.